Hello, my name is Joe Delio, Senior Solutions Engineer for the Live community, bringing you the third chapter in the VM-Series Enterprise Licensing Agreement, or ELA. In this chapter, we'll be learning about how to manage VM-Series tokens. What you'll learn in this chapter is how to manage the VM-ELA tokens. You'll learn how to grant the VM-ELA tokens. Please note that in order to grant tokens, access to the VM-ELA has to be granted and accepted first. This is all covered in the second chapter, so if you haven't seen that yet, please make sure you check that out. Also, we'll learn how to change the number of VM-ELA tokens that have been granted. As long as those tokens have been unused, you can change those numbers. Okay, now we're logged into the customer support portal. Underneath Assets and Enterprise Agreements, we're in the Enterprise Agreements area. This is where you can see two options to grant ELA access and then to manage the VM-Series token. The grant ELA access is covered under Chapter 2, so if you need more information on that, be sure to check that one out. We're going to be managing the VM-Series token, and this is where we can distribute new tokens. We're going to be distributing it to this other company right here. Click on Manage VM-Series Token button. Make sure you choose the correct account. We're going to be using the second company right here. This is where you can change all of the quantities of the VM-Series devices based upon how many tokens that you have total. You have all the flexibility here to give as many VM-Series as you wish based upon the total token for the VM-Series ELA, and you'll see that value right here. If you wish to give 2 for VM50, no VM100, you can give a VM300. It automatically calculates the totals for the tokens, and you can see how many tokens are allocated right then and there. When you hit submit, it will submit this and it will show up automatically inside of the VM-Series auth codes area, and I'll show you that in a second. The reclaim token option, I'll show you what that actually is, and that's covered under the next chapter, chapter 5. Hit submit and it will submit this. This shows you the changes have been saved. Hit OK. Now close this when you're done. Now we'll log into the other account that we have granted the tokens to. Now we're logged into the customer support portal underneath the company that we granted access to. Under the email address that we were using to grant the ELA access to, we were able to grant the tokens. And again, under Assets, Enterprise Agreements, we see here for the auth code that we were using, we allocated 70 tokens, and we can see the 70 tokens right there. In order to see where those auth codes are, we go over to VM-Series auth codes. We can scroll down, and we can see that here's one code for the VM300, and here are the two. There's two for the VM-Series 50. You'll see here that you do have options to register the VM, deactivate, go to Panorama. I'll cover that in the next chapter, chapter 4. But let's go back to the original account that we granted the tokens from. And back here, if we see that we have 70 tokens granted total, and if we needed to change that for whatever reason, you go in, change to the company, and let's say you didn't want a VM300. Instead of a VM300, you wanted to give a VM500, and you wanted to only give one VM50. Again, as long as those VMs have not been spun up and used, you can change that on the fly. Go ahead and hit submit. Changes have been saved. Close that and jump back into the other account here. Once we're inside of the account that's been granted the tokens, we can see how there's a brand new VM500, and there's only one VM50 now, and the VM300 is now gone. that concludes the third chapter. Be sure to check out our other VM ELA videos. In the next chapter, we'll be talking about registering and deactivating the VM-Series. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already subscribed. Thank you very much, and have a great day.